It was a cold winter morning in Warren, Michigan on January 2nd, 2025. Ashley Elkins, a 30-year-old mother of two, woke up early to start her day like any other. She had a list of errands to run, nothing out of the ordinary. She kissed her two sons goodbye, promising to be back soon, but that promise was never fulfilled. She left her home in a silver sedan, wearing casual clothing and carrying her purse and phone. Surveillance cameras in her neighborhood captured her car pulling out of the driveway at approximately 9:30 in the morning. Her first stop was supposed to be a local grocery store, but somewhere along the way, Ashley vanished. Hours passed. Her family tried calling her phone, but the calls went straight to voicemail. At first, they thought maybe she had gotten delayed, stuck in traffic, running extra errands, or dealing with a dead phone battery. But as the afternoon stretched into the evening, their concern deepened. Where was Ashley? Ashley wasn't the kind of mother to disappear without a word. She was fiercely devoted to her two young sons, 7-year-old Carter and 10-year-old Mason. They were her world. She made their breakfasts every morning, tucked them into bed at night, and never missed their school events. She was their safe place, their constant. That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, her children sat in the living room, waiting for her to walk through the door. Carter, the youngest, kept asking, "Is Mom coming home yet?" Mason, a little older, tried to stay strong, but his hands gripped his backpack straps tighter than usual. Hours turned into an entire night. The next morning, Carter woke up, looked around the house, and asked again, only this time his voice carried fear. "Where's Mommy?" The boys had never gone a full night without her before. By the morning of January 3rd, Ashley's family knew something was terribly wrong. They hadn't received a single call or text from her. It wasn't like her to disappear, especially not without telling someone where she was going. Her parents, her siblings, and a few close friends began making calls. They checked hospitals, wondering if she had been in an accident. They reached out to mutual friends, hoping someone had seen her, but there were no answers. At 10:30 that morning, they officially reported Ashley missing to the Warren Police Department. Officers asked the usual questions. When was the last time you saw her? Was she acting strangely before she left? Did she have any enemies? As officers began retracing Ashley's last known movements, a chilling realization set in. No one had seen or heard from her since she left home the morning before. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. But people don't just vanish. Something had happened to Ashley. The question was what? And more importantly, who was responsible? The Warren Police Department wasted no time launching an investigation into Ashley Elkins' disappearance. Officers combed through security footage from nearby businesses, spoke with her family and friends, and analyzed her phone records. The goal was simple: retrace Ashley's steps and figure out where she had gone after leaving home on January 2nd. Through their inquiries, they uncovered a crucial detail. Ashley had planned to visit her ex-boyfriend, Deander Booker, that day. Booker lived in Roseville, a small city just minutes away from Warren. The discovery sent a ripple of concern through the investigative team. Why would Ashley go to see her ex? What was the nature of their relationship? Detectives interviewed Ashley's family, who revealed that her relationship with Booker had been turbulent at times. While the two had been on and off, things had reportedly become strained in recent months. Ashley's friends claimed she had confided in them about feeling uneasy around him, though she never shared specifics. With this new lead, investigators turned their focus to Roseville. If Ashley had indeed gone to Booker's residence that day, why hadn't she come back? Detectives paid a visit to Booker's home, hoping to question him about Ashley's whereabouts. But from the start, something felt off. Booker seemed nervous, his answers vague and inconsistent. He claimed that Ashley had never arrived at his home that day. But if that were true, where had she gone? As authorities pressed him further, a break in the case came when Ashley's vehicle was discovered parked not far from Booker's residence. The car was locked, her purse and phone missing, and there were no immediate signs of struggle. Suspicion mounted when forensic teams searched Booker's property. Inside, they found evidence that suggested a violent encounter had taken place, though police have not publicly disclosed exactly what they found. Could this have been where Ashley's disappearance turned into something far more sinister? On January 8th, less than a week after Ashley went missing, Dinder Booker was arrested, but not for what many expected. He wasn't charged with kidnapping or harming Ashley. Instead, he was charged with lying to police. But why? What was he trying to hide? Authorities believed that Booker had given false statements about his interactions with Ashley on the day she disappeared. He had denied seeing her, yet evidence suggested otherwise. If he had nothing to do with her disappearance, why would he lie? The charge raised more questions than answers. Did Booker know something about Ashley's whereabouts? Was he covering for someone else? Or was this a carefully crafted deception to buy time? For Ashley's family, the arrest offered little relief. Their daughter, their sister, their mother was still missing, and the man at the center of suspicion was not yet facing any charges directly related to her disappearance. The clock was ticking. Would police find enough evidence to uncover the truth before it was too late? Word of Ashley Elkins' disappearance spread quickly through Warren and the surrounding areas. Within days, missing person flyers were plastered on storefronts, telephone poles, and gas station windows. Local news stations picked up the story, urging the public to come forward with any information. The community didn't just watch from the sidelines, they mobilized. Volunteers formed search parties, combing through wooded areas, vacant lots, and roadside ditches, hoping to find any trace of Ashley. Candlelight vigils were held outside her home, where family, friends, and even strangers gathered, holding up photos of Ashley and praying for her safe return. Social media became a powerful tool. Hundreds of people shared her missing persons poster online, tagging local businesses and news outlets to keep Ashley's face in the public eye. Some who didn't even know her felt personally invested in the search, because when one person goes missing, an entire community feels the weight of their absence. But with every passing day, the tension grew. The question on everyone's mind remained the same: where is Ashley? For Ashley's family, the days without her felt like a nightmare they couldn't wake up from. Her mother and father stood in front of news cameras, pleading for their daughter's safe return. Tears filled their eyes as they spoke about the pain of not knowing if she was still alive. Her sister, struggling to keep her composure, looked directly into the camera. Ashley wouldn't just disappear. Someone knows what happened. Please, if you know anything, even the smallest detail, come forward. Their voices were raw, desperate. Ashley's friends described her as the type of person who would drop everything to help someone in need. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, a person with a life that mattered. She did not simply vanish. The family launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for private investigators and additional search efforts. They were determined to bring Ashley home, one way or another. The community's support was overwhelming, but still there was no sign of Ashley. Of all the people affected by Ashley's disappearance, no one suffered more than her two sons. 7-year-old Carter didn't understand why his mother wasn't coming home. Every night he would ask, "Is mom coming?" His family didn't know how to answer him. Mason, the 10-year-old, was old enough to grasp that something terrible had happened. He had seen the news reports, heard the hushed conversations between adults. He started having nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night, calling out for his mom, only to be met with silence. Children aren't supposed to grow up with this kind of fear. They're not supposed to wonder if their mother is alive or dead. Their grandmother tried to reassure them, saying, "Mommy is coming home soon." But the words felt empty, even to her, because deep down she feared the truth. What if Ashley wasn't coming home at all? On January 13th, just 11 days after Ashley Elkins vanished, law enforcement officers arrived at a landfill in Macomb County with a grim purpose. A fleet of investigators and forensic experts, clad in protective gear, carefully sifted through tons of debris. It was a desperate search, one no family ever wants to hear about. But what led them here? Authorities had been tracking waste disposal routes from Deander Booker's residence. They had reason to believe that evidence, perhaps even Ashley herself, could have been discarded in a dumpster that was later transported to this landfill. Searches like these are often informed by surveillance footage, GPS tracking, and garbage collection schedules. The scene was heartbreaking. Officers meticulously examined every bag, hoping for a clue that could break the case. Family members held their breath, fearing the worst but needing answers. But after hours of digging, no significant evidence was found. Did they miss something, or had they arrived too late? If Ashley was disposed of, was it in a different location? One thing was clear: investigators were not working off speculation. They had a reason to believe something had been thrown away. The question was what? Detectives had already retrieved several items from Booker's residence, items they refused to disclose publicly. Among them was a large trash dumpster taken into evidence by forensic teams. What could be inside? Authorities remained tight-lipped, but rumors swirled. Some suspected blood evidence, others believed personal belongings linked to Ashley were found. Given that police had already suspected foul play, the discovery of these items only deepened their focus on Booker. But here's the real question. If he had nothing to hide, why was there evidence at his residence that suggested otherwise? Investigators knew one thing for certain: something violent had happened inside that house. But without a body, without a confession, they needed more. Would forensic testing on these items lead to a breakthrough? The decision to arrest Deander Booker wasn't random. Police charged him with lying to investigators, a move that, while not directly related to Ashley's disappearance, was still highly suspicious. But what exactly did he lie about? Authorities wouldn't release details, but one thing was obvious: Booker had given them false information, and they had proof of it. Was it about Ashley's last known whereabouts? Was it about whether he saw her that day? Did he attempt to fabricate an alibi? Lying to police during an active investigation isn't just a red flag, it's a potential obstruction of justice. If Booker had truly done nothing wrong, why not cooperate? What was he trying to hide? For Ashley's family, his arrest only reinforced what they feared all along. He knew more than he was letting on. As weeks stretched into months, Ashley Elkins' case refused to fade into the background. Her name, her face both remained imprinted in the hearts of the Warren community. Flyers with her smiling photo and the word "missing" in bold capital letters continued to be distributed, not just in Warren but in surrounding towns. Grocery stores, gas stations, and local businesses all kept posters up, refusing to let Ashley become just another statistic. But in today's world, the strongest tool wasn't just physical flyers, it was the internet. A Facebook group dedicated to Ashley's case gained thousands of members. Social media campaigns flooded timelines with people sharing updates, theories, and pleas for information. The hashtag #FindAshleyElkins trended in local circles, ensuring her story stayed in the public eye. Because here's the thing: awareness can change the outcome of a case. It's public pressure that keeps law enforcement moving. It's public attention that forces authorities to keep digging. The more people know, the harder it is for someone to get away with a crime. And in Ashley's case, the community wasn't letting go. Despite not being charged with Ashley's disappearance, Dinder Booker remained in custody. His bond, $250,000. Why so high for a charge of lying to police? Because authorities knew there was more to this case. Booker wasn't just some random suspect, they believed he was withholding crucial information, and the more they dug into his past, the more troubling details surfaced. Court documents hinted at a pattern of control and manipulation in his previous relationships. Former partners came forward with disturbing accounts of his behavior, jealousy, intimidation, and in some cases, violence. Could this be the missing piece? Had Ashley confided in someone about fearing Booker? And if so, why did she go to see him that day? His next court hearing was set, but everyone watching the case had the same question. Would prosecutors gather enough evidence to formally charge him in connection with Ashley's disappearance? With no definitive answers, speculation swirled. Some believed Ashley had simply run away, but her family immediately shut that theory down. She would never abandon her children. Others suspected an accident, that maybe she had suffered a medical emergency or gotten lost. But where was her body? And why were there signs of violence at Booker's home? Then there was the most chilling theory, the one many feared was true, that Ashley had been murdered and her body disposed of in a way that made it nearly impossible to find. Some believed she had been harmed inside Booker's home and that whatever was found in his trash dumpster was proof of it. Others speculated he had an accomplice, someone who helped him get rid of the evidence. But without a body, there was no definitive answer. And the biggest question remained, would there ever be justice for Ashley Elkins? As investigators pieced together Ashley Elkins' life leading up to her disappearance, one question loomed large. Had she been trapped in an abusive relationship? Many victims of domestic violence suffer in silence. They don't always come forward, often out of fear, shame, or hope that things will change. But statistics paint a grim reality. Many missing persons cases involving romantic partners end in tragedy. Friends of Ashley hinted that her relationship with Dinder Booker wasn't perfect. Some recalled times when she seemed withdrawn after arguments with him. Others said she had expressed concerns but never outright admitted to being afraid. Did she downplay what was happening behind closed doors? Police records show that Booker had a history of aggressive behavior in past relationships. Though there was no public record of Ashley filing a complaint against him, could it be that she simply never reported it? Studies show that the most dangerous time for a victim of domestic abuse is when they try to leave. Was Ashley's visit to Booker on January 2nd a confrontation? A final goodbye? Did things escalate beyond control? If so, this wouldn't just be a missing persons case. It would be a horrifying example of how domestic violence can turn deadly. Ashley's disappearance didn't just affect her family. It shook the entire community. Warren, Michigan is no stranger to crime, but something about this case struck a nerve. A mother of two vanished in broad daylight, and no one knew where she was. Residents became more cautious, especially women. They started checking in with friends before and after running errands. They double-locked their doors at night. Some even carried personal safety alarms, whispering the same thought to themselves. If it happened to Ashley, it could happen to anyone. The case also sparked difficult conversations about domestic violence, about the justice system, about what more could have been done to protect Ashley. And yet, despite the fear, the community refused to let her name be forgotten. They showed up at vigils. They spread awareness. They demanded justice. Because when one person goes missing, the whole community carries the weight of their absence. Despite the grim realities surrounding Ashley's disappearance, her family clings to hope. Hope is what keeps her mother checking the news every morning, waiting for an update. Hope is what makes her sister refuse to take down missing posters even after months have passed. Hope is what allows her sons to believe maybe, just maybe, their mother will walk through the door again. But how long can hope survive when the world offers no answers? Some believe Ashley is gone forever. Others refuse to accept that possibility because sometimes hope is all you have left. Despite the search efforts, despite the investigations, despite the arrest, Ashley Elkins is still missing. And that leaves us with a chilling reality. There are still so many unanswered questions. What exactly happened on January 2nd? We know Ashley left home to run errands, and we know she was supposed to see Deaner Booker. But what happened between the moment she left and the moment she vanished? Why was there evidence of violence at Booker's residence? Investigators have confirmed that forensic evidence suggested a violent encounter, but they have never disclosed exactly what was found. What was in that trash dumpster? Where is Ashley now? If something terrible happened to her, where was she taken? And if she's still alive, why hasn't she reached out? And perhaps the biggest question of all, is there still a chance she could be found? Some missing persons cases take years, decades, even before the truth comes to light. But for Ashley's family, every day without answers is another day of suffering. Could there be someone out there who holds the key to solving this case? Ashley Elkins didn't just disappear into thin air. Someone knows what happened. Maybe it's a witness who saw something but didn't think it was important. Maybe it's a friend who heard something suspicious but didn't know how to come forward. Or maybe it's someone who's been keeping a dark secret one they think they can take to their grave. But secrets don't stay buried forever. If you have any information, no matter how small, please contact the Warren Police Department. Even the tiniest detail could be the missing piece investigators need. Will you be the one to help bring closure to this grieving family? The disappearance of Ashley Elkins is a haunting mystery, one that has left a family in anguish and a community searching for answers. Her two young sons still ask about their mother. Her family still wakes up every morning hoping for news, and the people of Warren, Michigan still carry the weight of her absence. As we reflect on this case, let's remember, every missing person deserves to be found. Every victim deserves justice, and every family deserves answers. Ashley's story isn't over. Until she is found, we must keep searching.